everyone, welcome back to Bet Me a Date's YouTube channel. Bet Me a Date is a website where you can incentivize yourself to meet your dating goals. Please subscribe below for more interviews and other videos. Also comment if you like what you see today. We're going to be doing an interview with a couple of experts on video game addiction and dating and how that can affect dating life. So if you are someone who is affected by this yourself, or if you know someone who is, or both, please watch. I think you're going to really like what you see. We have a panel of 2 experts. It's going to be fantastic. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. We're going to be talking about video game and screen addiction, issues, overuse and abuse, and how that can affect dating. And so this could be great if you or a loved one are dealing with these kinds of issues. Today, joining me, my guests are Dr. Dustin Weissman and Boonie Sripom, who are experts in this area, and they're going to be answering some questions for us. Dr. Weissman, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist in Southern California, on the edge of LA County, and I specialize in internet addiction treatment as well as work a lot with men's issues.
Great, thank you. And Boonie?
I'm a therapy-informed life coach, and I work with gamers using archetypes and personal development to help them grow.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you both for joining us. So can you define gaming and screen addiction and maybe how it's not necessarily addiction per se?
Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that anything we know can be an addiction, anything that you do in excess. And it really occurs when you do it to the point where it disrupts other areas of your life. That could be seen in relationships, schools, schoolwork, regular work, just physical health. Also, addiction, it's seen when we get to the point of believing that we can't live without it and needing it to a craving point where we have to get to it again. So I think those are some of the hallmarks that we can see within addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a lot of people, they'll tell me that they're ruminating thoughts about it at nighttime, or they're even dreaming about it. That's usually a good red flag for this might be an addiction. Doesn't mean it is, but it's definitely one of the check marks that we look for.
Yeah, that's a great point. Boonie, anything that you want to add about?
One of my hallmarks for when something could be an addiction is it starts feeling like work, like you can't stop doing it, even though it's not even really bringing you joy anymore. You're just doing it for the sake of this compulsion to repeat, and you just can't stop. But then, like, it's just like part of your habit now.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think, yeah, there's a lot of people who say, I just can't stop. I don't know how to stop myself. Are there differences in any way that either of you guys see between like just general screen time addiction per se and video gaming addiction in particular?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between a gaming addiction and other internet-based addictions. I've worked with people on both, and I think the way that people are reinforced is one of the main differences. With social media, you have variable ratio response. And with a gaming addiction, you have these other reward system factors that are these hooks that will bring you in and keep you there, like a leveling up progress. There's also, they both have a social component. I'd say gaming has more of a competitive component than social media, but social media does still have a competitive, like a social competitive.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of overlap, but I think you have some spikes on each one.
Yeah. Anything you want to add, Boonie?
That's a very interesting point. I don't differentiate the two. I guys kind of think the tools are the same, right? You use the internet and it's the same type of like feedback. So as I'm thinking about it right now, I guess some people, well, think like teenagers or people posting on Instagram, the feedback would be, the engagement is not the same, right? Like you're posting, you're not engaging with people, you have to wait a lot of time for someone to like your post or comment. And so maybe since that the engagement is not as frequent as something like a game where you level up or getting points or some type of system, I could see where it too diverge, where you have to do a different behavior to get the feedback that you're looking for, like attention or acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see, like, is there a difference to, like, when we really know someone's on the other end versus I'm playing the computer, all that stuff. How do either of you guys, both of you guys, see that this affects people's dating and dating behaviors?
What dating? I'm just kidding.
That's a good point, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely, the more time you're spending on social media or on gaming, the less time you're spending in real life with real people. I think that we've had some success with people who've met online in gaming and then developed a real relationship and even got married. It's not as common, I think, as putting yourself out there in the physical world, but I wouldn't want to discount it that if you're a gamer, you can't get into a relationship, you can't have a meaningful relationship. So there's pros and cons to each. I think people that really are ready for a relationship and want that and are willing to step outside their comfort zone, which might be logging off and going to social interactions, then they'll have more success. Whereas people who are retreating or hiding behind a screen are going to have less substantial interactions if they're not going to be, forthcoming and vulnerable.
Yeah, and I'm curious, like, just sort of as an add-on, I also want to hear from Boonie, but Dr. Weissman, do you see COVID, because we're still in this time of COVID, and I know here on the East Coast, winter is coming, right? Yeah. And like, we are expecting a lot more indoor time. Do you expect even less of that, like, in-person socialization and a lot more challenges and more kind of screen time addiction challenges with dating?
Yeah, I think we've been having that. And I'm seeing that with my own clients right now, that they're struggling with getting out there. A lot of online dating has been, there was an increase, I think, in that because people are so at home. But the social interactions you can do, the dates, going to the movies, going to a restaurant, you can't do that as easily. So it's having a huge effect on the dating world. I think we saw a lot of, engagements and pregnancies, and we also saw a lot of divorces and breakups.
So, and there's no comment.
Yeah.
Boonie, what can you tell us about this stuff? It's, such a key topic.
So it always makes me think about this one part of Ready Player One. At the end of the book, he finds the Easter egg, and the creator of this world, the creator of basically the book version of the internet gaming world, he's like, hey, this is great, I love it too, but don't forget to engage in the real world. I forgot that lesson, or I learned it way too late. Whoever finds this, I want you to know that it's here for you too. You're allowed to be in the real world. And for some of us who have a more difficult time engaging in the real world, the internet has always been a safe space. The gaming world has always been that space where you're not really judged and you can create your own world, right? The internet, I think, or engaging online for some people who didn't have that need in the first place, I think are going to be fine with transition back when COVID kind of like gets better, we have a vaccine, or we get more spaces to be more social and act interpersonally. For those who are gamers or people who need social media and internet more before COVID even happened, I think that's the people that behavior is only a symptom or a sign of something that happened before, right? It's an indication of a need. And so for those who did need the internet or gaming, we do have to understand what the need is before we even kind of pick it apart, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I want to skip ahead for a sec. I know that, this will vary from person to person because we're all different, but are there strengths that are used in like screen addiction or gaming addiction that actually could be beneficial for dating, or that someone might kind of take and then somehow apply or use in their dating life?
Yeah, I think so. I think that we can look at partnering with people who have similar strengths that compensate one's weaknesses. And if you relate that to gaming, then you can go in as an ally or a teammate or a player too. And I think with another person, you can face some challenges that you might not be comfortable to face on your own. Also spending a lot of time with them will help develop that. So creating time to spend with another person.
I love that.
Yeah.
What about you, Boonie? What do you think?
So, excuse me, in terms of archetypes and stuff, like you can learn a lot based on the types of games and the characters that someone resonates with. Like I'm mostly a healer type, so I'm a helper. If you find someone who's like the tank or the warrior, they're more of a protector, right? So that would be probably a good pairing. You could look for games that people play and the stories that come with the games that they're playing. What's very popular right now is Animal Crossing. You could look into someone's world a lot to see if they're more of a nurturer or they're more of like a hoarder. Some people love consuming things and some people just need help to build their island. You can invite people over to your island, spend time together and trade things. And some people are really good with money in the game. And so like if you want someone who's good with money, maybe you could just use the game to kind of see, can you manage your in-game money? Because we need to do that in the real world too,
Yeah, so these are both such really interesting reframes for gaming and in dating. So how do people manage, right? How do you both help your patients, your clients, to manage dating in the real world? What are some tips you can give people in the real world?
Practice makes perfect. No one expects you to be perfect out the gate. It does take a lot of effort. I work a lot with this with my patients. We sometimes will role play or we will discuss what happened, what didn't happen, what could you do. One of the best tips I could probably give you is set small, achievable goals. So, if you struggle just to get out of the house and get to maybe a social setting when COVID ends, hopefully, and we can go to social settings again. For example, I don't know, wherever it is that you might go, and just being around people, that might be progress for you. Yeah. And then introducing yourself to a stranger, whoever it is, and then building up to introducing yourself to somebody of your interested gender that you'd like to interact with. And then perhaps asking them for their phone number or, I don't know, their Instagram handle, whatever it might be. Just building up to it and take it at your own pace. Everybody's got their own level of comfort, and it's like a mental workout. It's a physical workout. You got to build up to it. So, and it's also okay to seek out help from friends or mental health professionals to get some guidance. There's a lot of literature on it. So don't be shy to, read a book or two to get some knowledge on the subject. There's a lot of things, but really it's be patient and forgiving with yourself and realize that it's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
And even when you're in a relationship, it still takes a lot of practice.
Yeah. I say it's a little bit like a combination between SMART goals and exposure therapy, right?
Exactly.
Expose yourself again and again and again until the stigma and the fear is gone or diminished a lot. What about for you, Boonie? How do you work with your clients who are dealing with, or what suggestions do you have for people who are dealing with dating and screen addiction or gaming addiction?
So similar concept. I'll talk to them in the game to identify what their strengths are, what I see when we play together. And it's just, again, you envision the goal and you work backwards. Like people can sometimes feel defeated when they're looking at something so great at the end. So we have to really go all the way towards the back. What's the first step you need to take to even get there? Because if you're thinking about the big goal that doesn't even exist yet, you're going to feel like you haven't achieved anything. So again, from the beginning, what does the first step actually look like? And I would actually incorporate, technology, since it's a more comfortable setting. Can you message gamer groups, people who are in a similar area, similar age group, interests? Can we do a meetup? Can we do a friends, like a LAN party or some type of gaming setting where you're playing together? How about a video chat? There's a app called Discord. It's for gamers. You could join Discords for different games and communities, safely, of course, and start chatting outside of the game, so it's a little bit less stimulation. You know, you have to figure out what's the best way for each individual to connect with someone, then okay, similar interests, and then again identify what does a good relationship and partner look like. Because again, like you said, there's this balance of statistics or character stats each person has in a relationship or a game. What does this person offer you, and you're being realistic? Are you just being idealistic about the person that you want to hang out with, be friends with? Is it going to be a good relationship in the first place? So identifying what it actually looks like, and practicing with a coach, practicing with your therapist, you know, practicing as a friend, to not be disappointed that it may or may not work, because friendship is awesome too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is so wonderful. Thank you both. These are excellent tips. It's really just fascinating to pick your brains about it. I would love to sit here for like another hour or so and do this, but thank you for your time. Where can people who are interested in learning more about either of you or your coaching or your psychotherapy practice learn more about your work?
Yeah, so I have my private practice website is Dr. Weissman Psychology, DR for doctor. So DR, WEISSMAN, psychology.com. And I also have a podcast, CyberSense Power Up podcast, which I need to record more. Maybe when there's some more freedom with COVID being done, I'll get some more episodes out there, but it's available on all platforms.
Maybe I'll send you a copy of this and you can share it too.
Yeah.
What about you, Boonie? Where can people reach you when they want to contact you?
Organizedmesses.com, and my YouTube and Instagram are the same, Organized Messes.
All right, wonderful. Thank you both so much. Thanks again for joining us for this wonderful interview. Please don't forget to subscribe, comment below, ring the bell. If you like us, if you like what you saw today, please join us on TikTok, Insta. We're always uploading videos, Facebook. BetMeADate.com is our website.